Today, we are talking about seeking comfort and joy through the holidays, living with brain injury. This time of year can be overwhelming for anyone, but especially when you have a brain injury, things can just feel magnified and a lot more overwhelming. And so today, we're going to talk about some tips on how to get through some of these heightened things that happen around the holidays. But I'm hopeful that these tips would also be helpful any time of year with brain injury, but specifically around the holidays. It just kind of feels like everything comes to a head, doesn't it? So uh we're going to be talking more. I'm sorry, I'm losing my words here in the intro. We're going to be talking more about the holidays. Let's get into it. There is always hope, and you are not alone. Hi, I'm Cristabelle Braden, and this is my brain injury podcast, Hope Survives. This is an uplifting podcast to bring hope to your darkest days. As a survivor of traumatic brain injury and multiple concussions and re-injuries, I know what it's like to struggle to find hope. I don't want anyone to feel as alone as I did, and that's why over 10 years ago, I started an online community called Hope After Head Injury, which has now launched into a nonprofit organization called Hope Survives. Hope Survives envisions a world in which every survivor of brain injury and every member of their family are seen, loved, heard, valued, supported, uplifted, and never alone. This podcast is an extension of that, and I'd love to invite you to join along as we explore the realities of life with brain injury, with messages of encouragement, interviews with doctors and professionals, and survivor and family stories. No matter where you're at on your journey, there is always hope. With a little hope, you can make it through today. With a little faith, someday you'll get through the pain. Just a little love is enough to light the way through your darkest night. Hope survives. A little faith, a little love. Hope survives. Hey friends, welcome back to Hope Survives podcast. I am so grateful you decided to tune in today. We are here at the end of 2025, and what an incredible year it has been. I just need to thank all of you for listening, for being part of the Hope Survives community. Man, it's just been overwhelming in a good way and just beautiful to connect even further with people with brain injury and their families and just get to know your stories and your heart. I'm just so grateful for this first year as a nonprofit with Hope Survives. This podcast has been around for years before that, but some of you, if you've been listening, you may know that last year I took the step to file for a nonprofit 501c3 to be able to bring even more hope and awareness to those with brain injuries. We have an amazing team and a board of directors around us, and 2025 was year one of Hope Survives. And it has been of Hope Survives as a nonprofit organization, and it's been amazing. We've been running programs, we launched new support groups, we launched new workshops, and it's just been wonderful. And so if you've been a part of Hope Survives in any way this year, if you are listening to this episode, I just want to start by saying thank you. I am so grateful because even in my own journey, it's so easy for me to even feel alone. But for us to be able to come together in community means more than I can even explain. So, start off by saying that this is also a little bittersweet as the season 4 finale of Hope Survives podcast. We will be taking a short break between seasons. Don't worry, we'll be back with season 5, but we are going to take a little bit of a break so that I can prepare and interview guests and get ready for next season. So if there's anything you'd like to hear on the podcast, please email us hi@hopesurvives.org because we would love to hear from you as we are planning moving forward with this podcast, moving forward with Hope Survives as an organization. We've shared this before, but there are a lot of volunteer opportunities. If you'd like to be involved with Hope Survives, if you'd like to share your story, if you'd like to be a Hope ambassador, if you'd like to join our prayer team, if you'd just like to see how you could help, we would love to connect with you. Again, email us hi@hopesurvives.org or visit our website, hopesurvives.org/get involved, and we'd love to connect with you there. But today we're going to talk a bit more about the holiday season. And I have to tell you guys, I've had a pretty tough time the last couple weeks, just a lot of flare-ups and exhaustion and just this overwhelming fatigue that I could not shake. I'm recording this episode kind of down to the wire when it's supposed to release. I had every intention of recording it last week and it was not able to happen. And I'm looking at myself on the camera and I'm seeing the bags under my eyes and just how tired that I feel and that I look. But I really wanted to make sure that we got this out. And so I think the first thing is give yourself grace. Things might not happen on the schedule that you want them to, or they might not happen at all. And that's okay too. But we have 2 downloadable resources about the holidays available at our website, and we spent a lot of time on these. My mom and I made them, and the first one is called Seeking Comfort and Joy for the Holidays. And it talks about social situations, scripts for getting out of things. We're going to talk a little bit further, and things like that, how to redefine your celebration of the holidays. And then our other resource is called Harvesting Hope for the Holidays. And that one is really fun. We actually have some craft ideas, recipes, as well as sensory strategies. And so today's episode comes out of both of those resources. But I highly recommend I'll put the link in the description of the podcast, but I recommend going to download them because you can print out the PDF and being able to have something tangible. We put together some recipes that are brain healthy or healthier than a lot of what you see, and also don't have a lot of steps to be able to make that we're hoping will be able to make you feel like you can contribute or make something. And we also put together just some little crafts you can do at this time of year that we hope that families with brain injury can enjoy together. And that resource actually come from a workshop, a gratitude gathering that we did a couple months ago, but now we've put it out for everyone on our website. So make sure to download those PDFs if you would like to. It's all free. Just go to our website, Resource Hub, and check them out. But today we're going to talk about sensory regulation, strategies that help to ground your nervous system. We're going to talk about social situations as well as some graceful scripts that you can use to help you set some boundaries or communicate things. We're also going to talk about just some ways that you can spread holiday joy with, as I mentioned, brain healthy recipes and gratitude activities. And then finally, just encourage you to redefine the way that you celebrate the holidays and that it's okay. This episode looks a little bit different than last year's holiday episode. Last year, I recorded something, I think it might have even been on Christmas Eve, called The Mix of Grief, Joy, and Overwhelm. And last year's episode definitely talked more about the emotional side of brain injury. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about practical tools and resources. While still acknowledging the emotions, but I hope that both those episodes are helpful. If you want to go back to last year's episode, you can scroll down in our feed or find it on our website. By the way, if you listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watch it on YouTube, you can also find every episode on our website, hopesurvives.org/podcast. But the cool thing there is you can search it by topic, and we've put keywords into each episode. So if you're looking for something about something specific or you want to use it to share with your family or friends, we want to make that as accessible as we can. So yeah, we also, last episode was about neurofatigue, and we had Dr. Jeremy Schmo here, and I've already heard so much feedback about our last episode of the podcast about how much it helped people. At one of our groups, somebody said to me, That episode on neurofatigue helped me to be able to send to my friends and family, and it helped them to have more compassion, to understand where I'm coming from when I'm tired. Because a lot of times people don't understand brain injury tired. They think you're just being lazy, or you just don't want to do something, or they just don't really get it. And so this person shared how much that episode made a difference for them. And that just means so much to hear, because I'm hoping that these podcasts are things that you can share with your family and friends, but particularly the last episode, number 125, Understanding Neurofatigue. We also have a downloadable resource for that one in our resource hub as well. We're trying to make things accessible in as many different formats as we can. I hope survives, because accessibility is very important to us. So I did want to give a shout out to that if you haven't heard last week's episode, and thank Dr. Schmo once again and the Functional Neurology Center for sponsoring season 4 of Hope Survives podcast. We are so grateful to the FNC for your sponsorship of Hope Survives this year, helping us to thrive as a nonprofit in our first year. Having corporate sponsors makes all the difference for us to be able to run our programs and put out this podcast and do all of these things. And so we just want to thank the FNC for that. The FNC's personalized neuro recovery programs offer hope for those suffering from brain injuries, dysautonomia, vestibular, chronic pain, stroke, movement dysfunction, developmental disorders, PPPD, FND, complex post-concussion, and more. You can find out more about their programs at thefnc.com. And with that, we are going to go into today's episode a lot more about harvesting hope for the holidays, seeking comfort and joy for the holidays. And I hope that this will be encouraging to you. Thanks for being here. If your holidays don't feel the same as they used to, if you feel overwhelmed, if you are just struggling right now, it's okay. Take a deep breath. Give yourself some grace. Be kind to yourself through this. The holiday season can bring heightened sensory challenges with loud noise and flashing lights and crowded spaces. It can cause brain fatigue. That always happens after brain injury, but especially during the holidays, but more so as the emotional weight too. If we compare how things used to feel or how things used to be, it can definitely be a lot. And so whatever you're feeling right now, we want you to know you're not alone. We just finished our Advent 2025 Brain Injury Bible Study group, where we talked about light in the darkness, and we talked about John 1 and how the light always shines out the darkness, not the other way around. The darkness can never overtake the light. The light always shines out the darkness. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, or if things are feeling dark, know that there's a light there. You are not alone in what you're feeling. You are not alone in what you're facing. I've had to learn how to say no to things that I want to do. This year, I said no to singing at the Christmas Eve service. I, in last years, have done it every year. And I recognized in myself that I'm way too overwhelmed right now. And I can't do it and be able to feel okay. So I'm learning how to say no. I'm learning how to rest. I'm learning how to take better breaks. And I hope that you know that it's okay to give yourself permission to do that. You're not alone. So we're going to be talking about some sensory strategies. We're going to be talking about some social things here on this podcast. But before we talked about any of that, I just wanted to take that second to pause and just tell you it's okay if you don't feel the way that you think you should feel or the way that you used to feel. It's complicated. Brain injury recovery is hard. It's complicated. Life is difficult for everyone, especially brain injury. And so you're not alone. We just had to start there. The first topic we are going to talk about today, especially with the holidays, is sensory regulation. It's so easy to get overwhelmed, especially with all the hustle and bustle, as they say, of the holiday season. and especially for families navigating brain injury. So, taking intentional time for sensory regulation can help to calm your nervous system. This is important not only for the person who sustained the brain injury, but the whole family. It's so easy to push and push and push and try to just get through and get through. But what that can sometimes do is get you in this state of fight or flight mode where you are not able to operate out of the calmness that you could should you take time. For those with brain injury, your autonomic system may be overly stimulated. We've had a couple episodes about the autonomic system. On a more medical side, there can even be a diagnosis of dysautonomia or POTS that can come after concussion or brain injury. But for anyone with a brain injury, it's possible that your autonomic nervous system is dysregulated, maybe not fully to the level of POTS, but everybody, even without brain injury, deals with nervous system dysfunction in some capacity when it comes to trauma or things like that. So the importance of sensory regulation, not just for those with the brain injury, but also for families, is very important. And it does not take a lot of time to be able to ground yourself, but it could change your entire day. Intentional sensory regulation can be done alone to ground yourself, or it could be done together with loved ones during a time of reflection or as a way to connect with others and for everyone to calm and ground your nervous system together. So, the first way to do this is deep breathing. It's one of the most effective ways to calm your nervous system. And some people choose to do deep breathing along with meditation or along with prayer. I love deep breathing along with prayer or combining it with your gratitude practice. You can either do it quietly, you can put on music. There's also plenty of YouTube videos that do deep breathing. And there's an app that I love. It's a faith-based app called the 1 Minute Pause app that offers some prayers and just like an ability to pause that you can just listen to that doesn't require you having to think of what to say. And so being able to listen and do a deep breathing is really helpful. One strategy is called box breathing. So it's called a box because it kind of like goes in a box or like has like 4 steps to it. And so the important thing is to breathe deeply in your belly. Imagine inflating a balloon as you inhale, not like your shoulders up and like your chest, but like a deep breath. And it helps your body to fully relax and release tension and can calm down your nervous system to help you regulate. And so a lot of people will do an inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. The box is exhale for 4 and then hold for 4, but some people like to do exhale for 8 seconds for even more. And I think our guide has exhale for 8 seconds, but you kind of continue to repeat and it helps to calm down your nervous system. Another thing besides deep breathing is finding strategies to help with overstimulation. It might not be possible to entirely limit sensory overload, especially as the holidays. And there are certain holiday activities you might want to attend, like a dinner with family or a church service, or you might want to visit a holiday themed event or go shopping. So, if you're going to be going somewhere that brings sensory overstimulation, there's some ways to be intentional, including making it the only activity of the day if possible, bringing some small items that help with coping strategies like sunglasses or a hat. Did I say that help with coping strategies? Small items that help with overstimulation. I'm having word mixer uppers today, but bring sunglasses, a hat, earplugs, or noise canceling headphones, whatever you like to do to help reduce sensory stress. Doing some sort of specific calming strategies before and after, like the deep breathing. Having an exit plan if you are anticipating getting overwhelmed. If possible, having a quiet place to go to. Limiting the time you're at the event. And finally, something I find really important is making sure that you're hydrated and have eaten enough today and have limited sugar to lower brain inflammation. And so, like, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but the nutrition and food that you eat can make a huge difference in how you react and feel to your circumstances. And so, if you are dehydrated and you haven't had electrolytes and you haven't eaten enough, you are a lot more likely to get overwhelmed, speaking from experience. So, I often will keep like a little protein bar or something with me in my purse just in case when I start to get overstimulated, sometimes I'm not fueled enough. So, another thing that you can do to help with sensory regulation is choosing moments of calm. So, thinking about what calms you. Is it the aroma of a freshly brewed tea or coffee? Or maybe you like to look outside at through a window or go outside. Or do you have a favorite book or a favorite Christmas movie that makes you laugh? Whatever it is, like I like textures. I love blankets. Like, okay, you guys, I'm going to tell you something about myself. Every time I record this podcast, I have a blanket in my lap. And usually when I'm at my computer, I have this blanket because something about the calmness of something soft makes me feel better and less overwhelmed. And so I use that. I keep this blanket on my desk chair and I always put it on my lap. At every podcast, I've had a blanket on my lap, but you can't see it out of the camera. And so, whatever it is, I love fluffy things, fluffy socks, blankets, like stuffed animals, like anything like fluffy, I love. And something about it just makes me feel more calm. And so choosing like what makes you calm. And so in our seeking comfort and joy, in our harvesting hope for the holidays resource, there is a list of 25 things that may help you to calm. So if you're not sure, like thinking out of nothing, looking at the guide will hopefully help you to find something that could help you to calm yourself during the holiday season, especially when things are so overwhelming. And so we just want to make sure that you want to make sure that if you're going to be sensory overwhelmed, you want to make sure to choose things that can help you to find that moment of calm and make sure you have strategies in place. Now, speaking of strategies, we are going to be talking about navigating social situations with grace after brain injury. And some of these scripts, these social scripts, can be found in the Seeking Comfort and Joy resource. So, my mom actually came up with these scripts and I kind of helped a little bit. But what I love about it is that having a script that you can go to can help you to have a short, kind, polite phrase to help you handle these common holiday moments that can be really overwhelming. It can help you handle them with confidence because navigating events, social situations, expectations, and emotions can take compassion and preparation and self awareness. So, to navigate social situations gracefully, some ways that you can do that. Here's an example of what to say for declining an invitation. If you know something's going to be too much for you, you can either say, "That sounds like a lovely event, but I'll need to pass this time. I'll be thinking of you all and sending good wishes." Something very simple. Or if you want to share, depending on the person, disclose about your brain injury, you could say something like, "Thanks for thinking of me. I'm prioritizing my health right now, so I won't be able to make it, but I hope it's a wonderful time." Something else you could say if you're somewhere but you need to leave early, you could say something like, "It's been so nice to see everyone. I'm going to go ahead and head out before things are getting too loud for me." Or you can just say, "I've had a nice time, but I'm starting to get tired and need to head out to rest. Thank you for having me." You can also just say, "Hey everyone, gotta go." You don't always have to over explain yourself. But there are a couple more scripts on here. One of the ones that kind of is important is when people ask about like job or finances and you might feel uncomfortable, something that you could say is, "Things are in progress and I'm hopeful about the future, but let's talk about you. How have you been?" And kind of redirect back to them if it's a topic that you don't necessarily want to talk about. But it depends on the person you're talking to, and just knowing that sometimes things are overwhelming and that is completely okay. Sometimes, you might want to explain your brain injury symptoms a little bit more if it's somebody you have a closer relationship with, but not everyone's going to get it. And you do not have to try and over explain yourself if it's not going to be helpful. This goes for family members too. There are other family members that are well meaning, but they might not fully understand. And so being able to just let it slide off sometimes or have some simple things to say. So I hope that's helpful. Now, we also want to talk about holiday joy, and the Harvesting Hope resource has things about nutrition and connection. And so we have, the understanding thing is that traditional holiday recipes are often full of ingredients that can increase brain symptoms. And so if you are able to come up with some alternatives for yourself, it can help you not to feel as left out, but also stay grounded. So some things that I love in the recipes of joy, one of my favorite ones that I put in there is a warm banana dreamboat. So I don't know if you've ever made banana dreamboats. When I was a kid, they used to make them over the fire. You would slice a banana, leave the peel on, put little toppings inside, and then they'd wrap it in tinfoil and put it on the coals in the fire. But I discovered you can do the same thing with a microwave. So if you just slice a banana and just put you could put a little bit of chocolate chips, you could put some nuts, you could put some marshmallow or kind of whatever you feel, and heat it up. It creates a nice little treat that is a lower sugar option that's still enjoyable. Of course, it's okay to eat a cookie or whatever where you're at, but just realizing that more sugar will affect your brain injury symptoms. It can increase inflammation. And so just be mindful of portions and try to limit as much as you can without not enjoying it. The most important thing is that you are able to enjoy your holiday season without feeling too overwhelmed. We've also put together some gratitude crafts and activities. And sometimes there is just nice to be able to do something with someone else. One of the ideas was to do a joy jar, which you could decorate a jar and fill it with happy memories or things that happened this year that created you joy. There's something that you could do, kindness rocks, where you could just paint stones with uplifting words and leave them somewhere to be found. You could do a gratitude journal where you could decorate a journal and write down every day something you're grateful for. But having some sort of activity to do can be kind of nice to be able to do something together as a family that also isn't too overstimulating or too overwhelming. Give yourself the grace that you need to rest and know that your holidays may look different than others, but that's okay. You're not alone in what you're going through, and it's okay to redefine what celebration looks like for you after brain injury. Just remember that you are not alone in what you're going through, and there's always hope. We are so glad that you are here and part of Hope Survives. We have launched a community portal, app.hopesurvives.org, where you can connect with others on the journey. The app will be open through the holidays. We would love to connect with you and remind you that you are not alone. So I hope some of these practical strategies were helpful. As I said, you can download the resources. I just am so grateful to everyone for listening to the podcast, for being part of our community. And wherever you're at, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and we look forward to seeing you in 2026 with the next season of Hope Survives podcast. And in between that, join our support groups, join our workshops. We want to connect with you. We want you to know you're not alone. Email us hi@hopesurvives.org. There is always hope. Bye, friends. Thanks for tuning in to Hope Survives podcast. Make sure to subscribe and stay tuned, and would love for you to consider leaving us a rating or a review. Check out hopesurvives.org for more. We'll see you next time, and remember, there is always hope.